A very good evening to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Monday night. Back on a Monday. It's been quite a while since I've been on a Monday night. So welcome to you all. I hope you've all had a good weekend. And I hope you're all sort of cock a hoop over the undefeated run of 3 games in a row. We haven't been beaten for 3 games. We must be absolutely delighted, surely. West Ham United on a 3-game unbeaten run. Unheard of, hey? Anyway, I hope you've all had a good weekend. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. If you're new to the channel, you know, no, you won't know because you're new. So if you're new to the channel and you enjoy the content, please consider becoming a subscriber and please hit the like button. New subscriber or not, hit that like button if you're enjoying the content. So what have we got in store for you tonight? Well, you know, the usual roundup. Not a lot of it because no women's football, no academy football, but we've got some loan players who've been doing quite well. So we're going to talk about 1 or 2 of them in a moment, as well as looking at the game against Brighton and sort of trying to pick the bones out of that game. And of course, all the transfer rumours, all the noise. Well, you know, we have to sell Mohammed Kudus in order to raise money, don't we? Or do we? So we're going to go through all that, but I can see I've got 100. I can see I've got 116 comments. So I think, by the way, I've been ill quite a few for the last couple of days, and I felt better today. So I popped out earlier on, and when I came back, I thought I'd give myself a little treat and have a little shot of spiced rum and coke. I think I might have poured a little bit too much. Maybe the measure was more than I should have poured. Anyway, I'm here. Good evening to you, Toha. I hope you're well. Well, Stel, evening all. Wherever Kudus lays that stool is his home. Good one. Good evening to you, Mark. How are you? Midfield is a problem that needs addressing, not lively options on the bench to change the game. Also, what a joke. Estepinan didn't get a red for that challenge on Kilman. I absolutely make you right on that. Clint, good evening to you. I hope you're well. After Southampton game at Fulham, I can see it being much more difficult for us. People think on Boxing Day, Pac-Man is banned. We're not very creative as a team. He is banned, but Solaire's back. So like for like almost, I guess. Yeah, the games don't come much easier. But let's not forget how many people were saying over the past few games, especially after getting beat by Leicester and getting beat by Arsenal, people were suggesting, where are we going to get our next points from? We've got, you know, we beat Wolves. Lucky or not, we still beat them. We got a draw from Bournemouth that no one thought we'd get any points from. And we got a draw against Brighton, albeit I'm a bit disappointed by it, but we'll talk about that later on. So 5 points out of those 3 games, you know, we should be beating Southampton. Well, you know, I can't take anything for granted. We should get results on points on the table in that game. But then we do go into difficult games, don't we? But look at Man City. Look what's happening to them. Who would have thought that Man City wouldn't have won a game, would have only have won 1 game in 12 appearance in 12 the last 12 games. That's the beautiful thing about football, isn't it? You just really, really don't know what's going to happen. But no, they are tough. Kent again. We must score first on Boxing Day. Otherwise, the longer it goes on, the tougher it will be in this game. I think they'll be cheering the lads on. We've got to get the 3 points because the next 2 are not good. What if we get points out of Liverpool? Forget what they did to Spurs. We're not Spurs, are we? You know, we're better, aren't we? Come on. We are, aren't we? Good evening to you, Hammerette. I hope you're well. After seeing the Bin Dippers test Spuds a new one, I'm dreading it. I'm not. Because you just don't know what's going to happen. What if we hold them to another draw? You know, I mean, all right. Maybe I am pissed, but who cares? I'm feeling a little bit better, but thank you. Toha, early bird catches the worm. I'm calling myself a worm. 20. I was late tonight. 21:03. You're early because I didn't start till half 9ish. I hope you're well, Danny. Chris. Bridlington, good evening to you, mate. Thank you for calling from Bridlington. I'm ready, always ready for the big day. But the only thing is I've got to drive down there. I'm not looking forward to that. You know, nearly a 2-hour drive. Epic. Good evening to you. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Foxes. How are you? I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Usual. I hope you're well, mate. Who else have we got? Let's scroll down. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Good evening to you, Daniela. Did anyone in the Sunsport page, Toddybo, saying all the talk? Yes. Going to talk about that later, apparently. He's having none of it. Apparently, it's all crap. I don't know. Maybe he's just kissed and made up. Paul, good evening, mate. 100% red card against Estupiñán. Could be a league record score on the 29th. Come on, people. Come on, people. You know, we've lost the game before we even kicked the ball. You know, do you know what? I'm looking forward to inviting the bin dippers on next week. And the reason why I am is because you just don't know what you're going to get. We might get a drubbing. We might surprise everyone. Come on. Got to get behind the team. Got to get behind the team. Good evening to you, Darren. I hope you're well. Job against Southampton got more difficult. What is it about the Hammers facing teams? And and Lopetegui spoke about that, didn't he, in his pre-match press conference today? You know, about bounce back with a new manager. We saw that happening against us, against Leicester a few weeks back, and they will have a bit of bounce from having a new manager. But we just got to keep our, play our game. You know, Southampton at this moment in time are the worst team in the league. Well, worst team in the Premier League for some time. And we just got to go out there and we just got to play our game. And we should get three points from it. You're a bit drunk. I am too, mate. Well, I'm not really. I'm joking. Well, no, I'm professional. I'm never drunk. Good evening to you, Graham. I hope you're well, mate. Darren, Todibo played in the second half. Hopefully that means he gets to start against the Saints. I think he will. Mavropanos, he plays well and then he messes up and he plays well and then he messes up and then he messes up and then he gets dropped. Who else have we got? I think Todibo will start. But that is a bit of what surprised me that he played on at the weekend. Good evening to you, Obsidian. I hope you're well. Mince pie's on standby. Good evening to you, Clive. How are you, mate? Good evening to you, James. How are you? Thank you for joining, mate. Who else have we got down here? Good evening, Howard. Stell said he'd be 5 minutes. He's got to slip one of his Chelsea ones. Good evening to you, West Ham and Massive. How are you? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. It's Gatesy. I just saw someone saying hi to Gatesy. So hi, Gatesy, to you. Who else have we got here in the chat? Good evening to you, Rowley. How are you, mate? Good evening to you, Colin. How are you? I hope you're all in a Christmas mood because, Christmas is coming. Nothing's going to mess that up now. We didn't lose at the weekend, so that's not messed it up. We will talk about the game and the bizarre sort of tactics and substitutions in a minute, but we didn't lose. So surely we're going to have a good Christmas, aren't we? Come on. We've only got, Southampton and Liverpool to play after. Neil, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. There he is. Good evening, Gatesy. How are you? Let's hope the Spanish Moyes is on his way soon. Who's the Spanish Moyes? I thought we already had the Spanish Moyes. Who else have we got here? Garino got 2 weeks off. Not even West Ham can spoil that, can they? Of course they can't. It's Christmas now. Nothing can spoil that. Mercedes, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Did you read the Daily Mail article about someone else mentioned that to me? I didn't, to be honest with you. And I did ask the in the knower, and he went, I don't know what you're talking about. Probably does, and he didn't want to tell me. But I missed it. I didn't know. So I don't know what it was about, to be honest with you. West Ham, massive. Kudus drops is still on the London Stadium pitch. Double on. Who else have we got? Good evening to you, Jack. I hope you're well. Kudus would be up for it with all these City transfer rumours. I thought he played better at the weekend, to be honest with you. Still not 100%, but didn't he look an awful lot better when he moved over on the right-hand side? Yvonne number one, good evening to you. Yvonne number one. Evo number one, good evening to you. Good to meet you in the sports club on Saturday. Good to meet you too. Got some shout outs to make, haven't I? I think we missed Soler and Brighton and bypassed the midfields far too often. Looking forward to his return versus Southampton. Oh, you're Bob. Yeah, because I was going to say I've got a few shout outs to make to Robert, Bob, and all the lads at the table who said hello to me. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciated it. David, who said hello in the queue and going into the stadium, and hello to Rex and Steve as well. And as I was passing, George the Greek. I tell you what, there's more of us Greek West Ham fans than you think. When I was a kid, my family and people around, because I was brought up in North London, they always kept telling me that Greeks only support Arsenal or Spurs. Imagine if I'd become an Arsenal fan or a Spurs fan, wash my mouth out, and imagine that, and over the past few years, I've met more and more Greek West Ham fans than I can imagine. It's great, it's wonderful. So good evening to George, and I've got to do a shout out to people that you all hate, and it's to Sean. You know what is second? Sean Whetstone. I've got to give a shout out to Sean Whetstone. He's en route to Mexico because he's getting married. So congratulations to you, Sean. Well done and all that sort of stuff. I know a lot of people don't like him, but Sean is still a West Ham fan, and he bleeds West Ham, claret and blue. So good luck to him as well. Highest. You are not Spurs, you are war. Good evening to you, Highest. Good evening, Kevin. I hope you're well, mate. Not true, Stel. Kudus off to Liverpool. No, I don't think it's true, but we're going to talk about it anyway because it's in the news. Vito, good evening. Galimera from Sid. Galimera. See, there you go. More Greek talk. But Vito Zulo is not a Greek name, is it? Vito? Galimera to you from Sydney, mate. Thank you for joining. Really much appreciated. Andy, good evening, mate. Ridiculous. Yes, let's get rid of some of our proven international talent, replace it with homegrown crap. Looks like Loppy's backers have won the day. The one thing I've always got to say about transfer rumours is calm down, because there's a lot of shit out there, and it really is a lot of garbage. 9 times out of 10, there's hardly any element of truth in the rumours that are out there. Do I think that we will sell Kudus? Look, if we get offered £100 million for Mohammed Kudus, and we've got 2 or 3 players lined up, then quite possibly we will sell him. Do I think we will be offered £100 million for Mohammed Kudus in this transfer window? No, not a chance. West Ham massive. And Artovich said he was going nowhere, and then he left. Yeah. See. But we all knew he was because his brother wanted the payout, didn't he? I'd never forget that. I'd never forget his brother standing in the in the stadium. We were bobbing all low so we can see, the celebrity part and all that, the VIP bit and all that. And his brother was standing there, and he was getting a lot of stick from the West Ham fans because we knew that the sale was happening. And even up to that point, Artovich was going, "I'm not going anywhere." Money talks, mate. Love the positivity, Paul. Always positive here, mate. Got to be. Matthew, good evening, mate. I agree, Stel. We'll lose against Saints and we'll have a meltdown. Then we'll beat the bin dippers. There you go. I didn't say we'll lose against Saints, Matthew. We'll get something off the Saints and then we'll get something off the bin dippers too. Jack, Soler's our best creative midfielder. I doubt we'll keep him. 250 grand. He's not on 250 grand a week. Because we are negotiating, and I wasn't going to talk about this, but I will now. We're negotiating. I was like, why are we going to negotiate to get him in this transfer window? And then cling, it dawned on me. I've been saying for quite a bit of time that we can sign up to 4 loan players in a season, but we can only play 2 at any one time. We can only have 2 in the squad at any one time. So by freeing up Soler, by him not being a loan deal, by getting him on the permanent, means we can go and get someone out on loan. I wonder who we've got earmarked to get on loan. So we will be getting Soler, and he won't be paid 250 grand a week. No way on earth. He's being paid at this moment in time something like 80 grand a week. He might get a bit more. He might, go up to 100, something like that. But he's certainly not going to be paid 250 grand a week. That's for sure. Who else have we got in the chat? PDF file exposer. I'm a new West Ham fan. You recommend I support this club? Of course you should support this club. PDF file exposer. Well, good evening to you as well. The West Ham massive. Should Soufal have been dropped after playing well? I didn't think he played well, to be quite honest with you. I think he was okay, but I didn't think he played well. And I think he's the sort, as I said in the review of that game, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He really, I think I've just sussed out that name. But anyway, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He plays, with endeavour, but, he's not, the Premier League is too fast for Soufal now, to be honest with you. I don't necessarily think I think he did okay against Bournemouth. So, yes, I think it was right to have dropped him. Paul, good evening to you, mate. Happy Christmas to you as well. Good evening to you, Jerry. How are you? Thank you for joining, mate. I hope you're well. Rowley, I think we get past the Saints without impressing and get thumped by the Mickey Mousers. I don't know. Jack, that pass by Souček to Bowen that led to our goal against Brighton must be the first time I've seen him do that type of assist. Didn't look. It was a pass from him. There's no denying that. It definitely went to Jared. Fuck me, he had a lot of work to do, didn't he? You know, when he got that pass or just past the halfway line. Was it a threaded pass, a bit like Paqueta's one in the final in Prague? No, it was not. It didn't beat all the defenders, did it? Jared Bowen still had to beat 3 defenders before taking a shot. But fair play to Souček. It was a forward pass. I'll give him that. Only captains, I'm afraid, tonight. I've got a really nice bottle. I can't wait to open for Christmas Day. I almost feel guilty opening it because I know it's quite expensive. The missus got it for me, but I will be opening it. But just captains tonight. Just the usual run-of-the-mill stuff, just for a weekday. David, good evening, mate. Do you think Moyes will be back after the next run? No, I don't. I'd said that, and I stick to it. I was told about 2 months ago, and I did talk about it in a show about 2 months ago, and again recently as well. David Moyes, West Ham United are not looking to bring David Moyes back to the club for a third time. Now, things could change, but that's my understanding. My understanding is that's what West Ham will not be looking to do. That they will be looking for an alternative should it all go pear-shaped with Lopetegui, but it won't be David Moyes. Famous last words. PDF. Moyes is the best we can do with Sullivan making the decisions. I'm not so sure. Will Sorthouse was at the game at the weekend, wasn't he? He could be talking transfers. He could be talking another head coach. Matthew Howard, I was listening to lots of early reggae and Kingston records in Dalston today. Nice vibes. Nice one. Matt, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Merry Christmas to you as well. Head-to-head versus Saints. Played 42, 120, drawn 10, lost 12. Got to win 3-1. Thank you for that. Oi, don't take the piss. Bubbles and Greek. I know. See, I'm still not well. Mr. Blondage, how are you, mate? Blonde Rage, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Jerry, what score bought on Saturday? We're a shocking football side and so difficult to watch. The first half was okay-ish. The second half was okay-ish. And then he made a whole load of changes and then was like, what is going on? I think we kind of almost handed the game to them. But I'll talk about that later. Still, I have a gut feeling that we might get beat in a close game at Southampton, Colin. Wash your mouth out. Rowley. Stella North, does the Bournemouth result? Man U put our point down there into perspective. Bournemouth beat Man United 3-0. The great Amorim. Oh, we've got to get the next Mourinho. He's better than Mourinho. Amorim, we've got to get Amorim. He'll be a complete change. Now he's not doing so well. Everyone's coming out with, oh, well, it needs time. Oh, it's not his squad. Oh, he's got to adapt. Well, why doesn't Lopetegui need time? It's not all his squad, and he also needs to adapt the team as well. I mean, if it works for Amorim, if people are saying it's not working for Amorim because it takes time for him to adapt, etc., and it's not his squad, then surely we should be allowing Lopetegui the same excuses, shouldn't we? Shouldn't we? I mean, is Sean marrying in the cartels? Obsidian. Sean's getting married in Mexico. Didn't know they did gay wedding. Come on, that's not nice. Peter, well, it's all right if you're gay, I guess. Yeah. Peter, good evening, mate. Mr. Guyler, we are lucky to have 20 points. We've been poor all season. Well, we're halfway to safety. I reckon about 34, 35 points will get us to safety this season. Howard, sculpting my body weight in ganja and finishing off with Stelios and the tea and the West Ham family. Give this man thanks you very much. What do you smoke? Do you smoke green? Do you smoke block? Do you smoke what do you smoke? Let me know. And then send me a private message and we'll have a chat. Mark, wouldn't mind Kudus, Paqueta and Fulcrook and Rodriguez to go in January. No, calm down. None of them are interested in helping the team whilst we're struggling to bring in and bring people. Look, Paqueta, fair enough. Look, let's be honest with you. As I've said before, he's not going anywhere until the hearing has happened in March. the FA hearing. Because if he gets banned, people, that's it for him. Football's over for him. Kudus, I'm really in two minds. I don't want Kudus to go. I don't think there's any way that anyone's going to bid £100 million for him in January, but it will. But we know Kudus will go in the summer. I said it from the day he signed that he will give us 2 seasons, and that will probably be it. So I'm kind of like I've acclimatized myself to him going in the summer. I'm gonna he's going, and I'll be very, very surprised that if he doesn't go in the summertime. Do I want him to go in January? Not necessarily, but I know we're going to be looking at business. But it's all unraveling in front of us. Soler we're looking to make his loan deal permanent, which opens up a loan place, which means we're going to probably go out and find ourselves a lone striker on loan in January. Look out for that. Rodriguez, I think Rodriguez will go. I'm surprised he actually came on in the game at the weekend as well. Who else we got? Matt, question. If we got no money, instead of selling Kudus, why not use the academy, especially when Skulls look decent for the 20 minutes? I'm worried about Skulls. I'm really grateful that he came on, and I think Skulls, in terms of the defense, he's now had 2 outings under Lopetegui at times when it's been quite crucial in the game. So I think Lopetegui's thinking to himself, future player, I want him in. I want him to start learning the trade now. So I think defensively on the left side, because I think Cresswell, we're going to bid farewell to him at the end of this season. Do we have other players in other positions that could probably come in? I love to see the young lad, Lewis Orford, given a chance maybe in midfield. I thought maybe he might have gotten a chance even for 5 minutes or so in the game against Brighton at the weekend, but he wasn't even on the bench. Other players, front players, the striker situation for West Ham. I think we've got our best strikers out on loan, our best academy strikers out on loan, and I'll talk about that in a little while. I'm not so sure we've got real good. I'm chomping at the bit. I'm ready to go in the Premier League strikers in the academy. I'm not so sure. I think they're out on loan. Marshall, as an example. So yes, I agree with you in certain positions. I think Skulls has got his chance now. It's down to Skulls to keep his place in that lineup. Well, on the bench. Kimbo, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Late on the parade. Don't worry, mate. I was late as well. So, you've missed nothing. Frog in the wall. Good evening to you. Amers, Yuletide, Watsits and all that. Good evening, mate. Peter, with our poor record regarding strikers, is it worth buying one? Evan Ferguson, 1 goal in 14 games this season. We'll talk about him later on. I was hoping, Mark, Nolan will come in as an interim, but that ship sailed. Look, I'm not going to lie. A few weeks back, I think it was before the Leicester game. I think when we were we were really down in the dumps, etc. I did turn around and say, I'm just not sure this Lopetegui thing is working. I'm still not sure that it's working, to be really honest with you. Do I think Lopetegui is going to go before the end of the season? I'm not so sure. I think, as I've said a few times before now, I think we have to go on an extremely bad run of defeats. And maybe the games that we've got coming up, after Southampton, Liverpool, we've got Aston Villa, I think we've got Crystal Palace and 1 or 2 other teams. They're not going to be, no game is easy in the Premier League. And if we go on a really bad run, if we lose maybe 2, 3, 4 games in a row and get beat really badly, it's still a chance that Lopetegui will go. If we get through those, I don't think the board will let him go. And they may let him see the season out, to be honest with you. Is what a rum? Yes, it was a rum, but now that's just fizzy water now. If I drink any more, I'll be rambling. Imagine me rambling on a Monday night. You don't want that, do you? Mark, what I don't get with this whole loan rule is Everton have 4 players on loan: Mangala, Lindstrom, Harrison and Broha, all of which are in their matchday squads and all playing the same games. Now that I don't understand, unless I've misread it. And I put it up the other week. When I did a show last week, and I actually put the rule up. I don't get that. I wonder if it's maybe you can't have more than 4 loan players from the Premier League or something. I don't know. I'm gonna double check, I think. Peter, still, were you a sailor in a previous life with your love of rum? No, yes, I was. Yeah. There you go. There's your answer to that. I don't know why I like rum. I've got no clue. I just got the taste. I like the taste. It's the one of the few spirits that I don't like whiskey. I hate whiskey. I hate brandy. I don't like vodka. Fucking vodka. I don't like gin. My God, gin is like, you've got to be really old to be. I mean, I'm old, but you've got to be really old to be drinking that. I don't know. Maybe it's the flavor. It's the taste. You can drink that neat, can't you? You got a bottle of spice rum. I tell you what you should do is go and buy yourself a bottle of black spiced rum. Not the normal Captain Morgan spice rum, black spice rum. Trust me, you'll never look back. There you go. I should get bloody captains to bloody promote this show. Become a sponsor of the show. Good evening to you, Catherine. How are you? I'm not sure why we won't have holiday hangovers and get walloped by some. I'm not sure we won't have a holiday hangover and get walloped by some. We better not do, because we had our Christmas party last week. So there's no excuse. Maybe that's why we played weirdly at the weekend. Michael, good evening to you. I bet people are saying that Kudus January wasn't the one that replaced Moyes. That's why. I don't know, mate. Look, I'm sure Amorim will come good. I am sure he'll come good. But it's great watching them implode, isn't it? Bola Blazer, good evening, mate. Lopetegui bribed you to speak for him. No, I'm not. Look, I'm not speaking up for him. I still think it's really confusing. I still think the whole setup is rather odd, to be quite honest with you. Rowley, that's why I watch this channel. Some balance to my West Ham United neurosis. Tom, the dwarf has been with Salthouse again. That tells you why this club is the way it is. Yeah, we don't know. Maybe they were just exchanging Christmas cards with names of players in one of them. Oi, David, you should go for these players. Paul, Lopper's had more time, though. Yes, of course he has had more time. I'm not saying he hasn't. Don't get me wrong. It's still not 100%. It's still not 100%. But Lopetegui could argue, these players aren't mine. He did allude to that, didn't he? 9 players in, when he sort of suggested he ain't got the right players to do what he wants to do. Who else have we got down here? Let's scroll down and see who else we've got. Mark, thing is still, we need funds. If we need a good striker, maybe that's why we're making Soler permanent, in order to go and get ourselves a striker on loan, maybe a loan to buy. Dan, how are we affording the Soler deal in January? It's only 16 mil. Thought we were skint after the summer. It's literally about 16 mil. Whereas if we want a really good striker, we're going to probably have to pay what? 30, 40, 45 million, 50 million for him. So I get it. 16 million in order to make the Soler deal permanent, get a loan striker in for the rest of the season. Makes sense. And that way, we don't have to sell one of our key players. Mark, if Kudus goes for good money in January, doesn't that pave the way for Somerville to cement his place and show what he can do? And also means Guilherme could get more. It could, absolutely. I feel sorry for Guilherme, and I also feel sorry for Somerville, to be quite honest with you. Somerville seems to always be the fall guy. I didn't think it was right to have started Fulkrug, but we'll speak about that later on. Sell Creswell to a Saudi club. I don't know. He's got 6 months left. We'll probably say thank you and see him on his way, and then let him go on a free, and then he can sign for whoever he wants. And that would be the right thing for Creswell, to be quite honest with you, after the years he's given us. Anthony, Mr. Gilby, how are you? Do you think City will play divine when we play them? 6 points from the next 2 games? No, mate, I don't think. Has he got any game time? I don't think he has he? I think he was on the bench the other day. But no, I don't think he'll get any game time. I'll be very surprised if he does. Moisaurus, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Appreciate Moyes more after Lopetegui. Not that I want Moyes back. We kind of do, don't we now? We kind of know what we had. Yes, it was turgid. Yes, it was time for him to go. But at least you knew what you were getting. Good or bad. Don't think 90% of the fan base wanted Lopetegui at the moment. Rather have the draws than the 2 or 3 losses from that. Yep. Jack, what's happened to Guilherme? Don't know. Always on the bench, not getting any game time whatsoever. Colin, Loppe has never been the right coach from the off. Loppe must have had input on most of the signings we had. I think he must have done. I do. I think he must have done, but he seems to imply that he didn't. Hammer it. Really don't want Loppe to be spending any budget we have for January. He's not the answer. If he stays, he will be, it's not him spending. See, this is the confusing thing. We've got Tim Steidten. I'm not impressed with Tim Steidten, to be quite honest with you. I'm not impressed with Tim Steidten. I think he's messed up our summer transfer window. We thought it was great. It's turned out not to be so great. So who do you want to have the money to spend? Do you want Lopetegui or Steidten, who's apparently in charge of transfers? Because I think it was Steidten spending. No one told Steidten to go and get £27 million Fulkrug. No one told Steidten to go out and get the first signing of the summer transfer window, £25 million Guilherme. That was 100% Tim Steidten. Tim, I'm on my bike having a nice time in Brazil. Steidten came back with Guilherme, a prospect, 25 million, who hasn't hardly played any game time. And then right at the tail end of the summer transfer window, he says, oh, don't worry, I've got a striker for you, £27 million player who's injury prone. Those are on Steidten. That's over 50, nearly 50, over £50 million spent, £52 million spent on two players. One's not playing and one's injury prone. No one said to him, Tim, go out and buy me a shit striker and a young player that's never going to get any game time. He did that himself. All the others in between, who knows? You know, who knows where they came from? You know, apparently Somerville had a say in, apparently Sullivan had a say in Somerville. Good, because I think he's a good player. All the others, you know, Rodriguez, etc., where have they come from? Maybe it was Steidten, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Kilman was definitely a Lopetegui signing. I played, I've had Kilman in my team. I want him, and Steidten went out and got him. So you can definitely notch that one up to Lopetegui. But Fulkrug and Guilherme, no one twisted Steiden's arm to go out and buy those two players for over £50 million. Ouch. Kimbo will probably end up 14th or thereabouts. We can't get out of 14th. Doesn't matter how many times we might win or draw or whatever, we seem perpetually stuck in 14th place. So I think our board, being tight, will probably stick with him for now. They probably will. Fat Git, good evening to you. I can see Southampton beating us with an uplift of a new manager. A point at Fulham was a good result. It was a good result for them. No problem, mate. I guarantee you'll love it. Mark, Stel, it's because you're the rumble in the jungle. No, wait. Who else have we got here? Dorset Iron, good evening to you. I hope you're well. How about chucking Souček out of midfield and playing him as a centre forward? He played there in his youth. Can't be no worse than what I would honestly like is I'd like to see. I've said it quite a few times before. I'd really like to see Kudus in that middle. You know, as a false number 9, as a number 10, whatever you want to call him, and put Bone on the right and Somerville on the left. You know, failing that, I want to see what we had when Fulkrug went off, and keep Kudus on the right, Bone in the middle, and Somerville on the left. I want to see those three given an opportunity to play more and more. Peter, I bet Fulham thought they would turn Southampton over at the weekends. Yeah, they played a good game, didn't they, Southampton? Robin, Merry Christmas, mate, and to you as well. Late to the show. What? I'm really nothing. I'm rambling. Jack, Amorim has a much stronger squad on paper than us, and about 8 of them would usurp our first team squad. He would. He's got to get him playing. I'm being tongue-in-cheek. I'm being a bit facetious about Amorim because I do think he will come good at Man United. Probably not till next season. You know, but I am being a bit facetious about him. But I'm going to give it stick because we were told by everybody, well, some people, Amorim is the answer to West Ham United's future. You know, he's the one we should have brought in. Now, if he can't get those that squad of Man United players playing decently, what do you think he might do with West Ham lot? Do you honestly think he would have done any better than what we've got at the moment? I don't know. Maybe not. Matthew, when are we playing City? Beginning of January, hopefully soon. Hopefully soon while they're on their bonkers downward spiral. You just know they'll play us and their season will be revived. That's what will happen. Mark, we seem to forget that we only normally get one good half a season, either up to Christmas and then the wheels fall off, or vice versa. So after Christmas, we'll smash it. Europe, here we go. There you go. West Ham massive. Have you heard that Aguerd hasn't ruled out coming back? Well, so talk about him later. Bear with me. Talk about him in a moment, okay? I laughed when I read that. It's almost as if he had a fucking epiphany. Rowley, we need to see more of Gideon. Yeah, I'd like to see what the lad's capable of, to be quite honest with you. Neil, hasn't Somerville still been on the bench for some games when Kudus was banned? He was for 1 or 2, I think. You're absolutely correct. Cats are all fine. I don't know where they are. I've got 3 of the fuckers. They're probably down with the mum and eating and sleeping and shitting and all that sort of stuff. That's what cats do. Catherine, 9 a.m. matches here in Nashville. Moyes matches were hard to stay awake for. Is it much better now, Catherine? Hamret, what other club is run like ours? Oh, you'd be surprised. Who else divvies up transfers between 3? Well, are we divvying? We don't know. This is what we're told. Personally, I think everything went through Steiden, to be quite honest with you. I think when Somerville was mentioned to Sullivan went to Steiden. You're in charge. I've been tipped off about this player. You go and speak to Lopetegui. Do you want him or not? And I think Steiden went and did the business. And with regards to Lopetegui would have said to Steiden, I want Kilman. I want him as my main man in central defence, etc. Steiden would have gone off and done that business. So it would have all fed through Steiden. There would have been conversations. But let's not think for 1 minute that all these 3 people, Steiden, Somerville. Why do I keep saying Somerville? Steiden, Sullivan, and Lopetegui are going off and doing their own business willy-nilly. They're not. It's funneling through Steiden. Clearly, there are someone, I think it might be Mark, someone mentioned earlier that conversations were being had between the 3 of them. There's no way that these 3 guys are going out there and doing business on their own. There's no way, so we're not doing business any differently to any other club. The way it comes across on social media is what a shit show it is. Look at what we're doing. We haven't got a clue, etc., etc. I bet you it's nothing like that. Jack, Lopetegui would never have bought so many donkeys in midfield. The midfield's bad, to be quite honest with you. It's not great. It's not great at all. Who else have we got here? Let's scroll down. Clive, over 190. What? Thank you. Over 190 people watching. If you're new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. But as importantly, if not more importantly, hit the like button. Epic. Steiden wanted Yusuf Fofana. Moyes voted and signed J.W. Ward-Prowse. Let's be really honest, Epic. There's no way Yusuf Fofana wanted to come to West Ham United. He was holding out for a bigger club, and that's what he got. This is the thing. Because we're linked to a player doesn't mean that we've messed up when we haven't got him. Sometimes we've got to just hold our hands up and go, that player didn't want to come to West Ham. So sometimes you got to look at it and go, why didn't that work out? It's too easy. I'm not saying we have messed up on some transfers. There's no doubt about it over the years. I'm pretty sure we have. But that doesn't mean we've messed up on every transfer. Big names like Yusuf Fofana. He would have been ideal for West Ham. He wanted a bigger team. He didn't want to come to West Ham United. That's the difference. Sometimes you have a big player that just goes, no, I don't care. I don't want to go to West Ham. And we've got to take that on the chin. I don't like it, but it is what it is. Charles, what do we think of Freddie Ladapo? Is he worth a gamble? I don't know who he is. Is that bad of me if I don't know who he is? You're going to have to tell me who he is. Evening to you, James. I hope you're well. Keep warm and cozy. Start toasty here. The heater's on. I've had a rum. I'm very warm. Thank you. Colin, I don't feel you can never trust Sullivan not to sell any one of our better players. He would not care what us fans think. Yeah, look, we've got to accept this. I know we don't like this, but West Ham United will continue to be a club that when we get a good player, we will keep him for 1 or 2 years and then we'll sell him. We should have sold Paquetá, but because of the spot fixing stuff, he didn't go. Had the spot fixing stuff not come up, he would have been gone already. We would have got our 80, 90, 100 mil from Man City. He'd be a Man City player. He would have played for him a season and a half, and he would have already been gone. It's going to happen with Kudus. He will be sold. We will get another 1 or 2 Paquetás and Lopetegui and Kuduses, etc. And in a couple of years' time, we will sell them again in order to invest that money into buying other players. We are going for that model. It's as close as we're going to try and get to the Brighton model. And this is, I said it before, I don't like selling our best players. But, if the money that we use, if the money that we get is used to improve the squad, then fair enough. Because that seems to be the model that quite a few teams are doing. Brighton do it. Brighton, when they sell a player, the fans don't go, they don't become apoplectic about it. You know, they go, yeah, we know that you've just sold him for, you know, you bought him for 10 and you're selling him for 50, 60 million, etc. We know you're going to use that money to rebuild the squad. And that's where we have to get, we have no choice. You know, that's where we have to get to. Most clubs that want to build and strengthen are going to do that. You know, so do I feel, of course I don't want the likes of Kudus to go, etc. But I accept it so long as that money is spent on rebuilding the squad. We rebuilt the squad in the summer. It didn't turn out to be as good as we all thought it was going to be. Who else we've got? Mr. Forges, how are you? From Maruba Hammers, I hope you're well, mates. I hope all is good with you. West Ham Massive. If we could only sign one player in January, I'd go for a central midfielder with an engine. Joe Bellingham would be my choice. I was like, for me, I was saying it should be a centre forward. But now I make you right, to be quite honest with you. I think we need that engine in the midfield is, we don't have an engine in midfield, do we? We are lacking. I think we will sell Rodriguez. I think he'll go in January. I'll be very, very surprised if he doesn't go. And then we will replace him with a box-to-box midfielder. Mark, I don't know, you know, to be honest with you, 60 mil for Ferguson. If we didn't manage to pay 50 mil or 40 mil for John Duran, do we really pay 60 mil for him? I don't know. Hammer it. Gramps, we cannot do the second half of the season with our centre-back options. Are you calling me Gramps? Centre-back options or our lack of midfield and no decent striker? I don't disagree. But if we want three players, another centre-back, a box-to-box midfielder and a striker, then we're going to have to sell Mohammed Kudus to get it. Galokristuya to you as well, early doors. Thank you very much. Galokristuya is Greek for Merry Christmas. How about Jude Bellingham? Daniela. Kudus is a very good player, but he's not the finisher that we think he is. And a lot of other fans don't put the high price on him as we do. Yeah, but that's because they want to mark him down because they don't want to admit that they're going to have to pay £85 million or more to get him. Frog. But if we build the squad based on what Loppy needs and then get the chop, we're stuffed again. That is a good point. Yeah, I make you right there. Kimbo, look, the manager, the head coach role will be decided in January, one way or another, before that January window shuts. You know, so if there's no noise about bringing it, look, we want to win games, don't we? And then winning games means that you keep your head coach, doesn't it? So if we win games, if we start, you know, if we get through the next batch of games that are coming up, the Liverpools, the Man Cities, away to Aston Villa and all that sort of stuff, and if we do all right, then surely that's okay, isn't it? You're going to keep the head coach, aren't you? If we lose and lose badly, then before that January window shuts, you might see Lopetegui walking. Kimbo, we should buy our players from Amazon Prime. At least you can send them back no charge if you're happy. Who else have we got? Ferguson's not the answer. I'm kind of I agree with you, to be honest with you. Massive. The reason we're conceding goals because our centre midfielders aren't showing for the ball, so they carry the ball further than they should and get robbed. That's a good point. I agree with that. Midfield is killing us. Stelcat, I can be a granddad. I'll kill my daughter if she tells me that she'll be pregnant anytime soon. But that aside, yeah, I'm old enough to be a granddad. Alan, sorry, BD, but I think it's down to Loppy and that Guilherme's not getting games. He's an attacker and look at the only subs from the younger players he brings on. They are defensive. I would like to see. I'd like to see how he turns out. He might be he might do well for us. Dick, the players we got in the summer are below average. Trust him. My Arsenal. Yeah, you go. See, Timmy, that scarf, maybe had it tied around his neck a bit too hard when he did some of the deals. I think the reason we're conceding goals, I've done that one. Usual. Have you seen the black cab in Tottenham colours with a caption saying, even the cab only lets him... Who else we got? Right. I'll tell you what. Let's go into... I need a sip of water. Let's go into some Hammers headlines, because not a lot of them, but I really want to talk about our loan players, because we've got some talent out there, and they've done really, really well over the weekend. So let's do a roundup, shall we? So first off, what have we got? Well, No women's games. They don't play again until the 15th of January when they host in the FA Cup third round Liverpool in the FA Cup. I think the third round, 15th of January. No under 18s. They're not back in action until the 11th of January when they host Crystal Palace in the under 18s Premier League. But we don't have to wait as long for the under 21s to return to action as they will be away to Ebbsfleet United in the Nations League Cup after having beaten Grimsby 2-0 in the same tournament last week. Now, on loans, we've got some decent players. Callum Marshall delivered a man of the match performance. Hang on one second, people. Oh, sorry about that. Right, let's do that again. Callum Marshall delivered a man of the match performance as Huddersfield Town extended their unbeaten run in League One to 11 games with a 4-0 win at Cambridge United at the weekend. Marshall not only scored a brace, but he set up Huddersfield Town's second with an excellent cross glanced in by Northern Ireland compatriot Brodie Spencer. Minutes later, Marshall was on hand to add a third, and then the 20-year-old forward capped his impressive display with a second goal in the 72nd minute. Dropping into midfield, Marshall initiated the move with a clever lob over Cambridge defence to Josh Koroma. Koroma's efforts was parried, and Marshall surged into the box to score his brace. Well done to him. He's doing exceptionally well. I think that's 7 goals now for Callum Marshall on loan. Academy teammate Patrick Kelly was also on the score sheet, making his return to the Doncaster Rovers starting lineup with a landmark first League 2 goal in their 3-1 win over Tranmere Rovers. In the Championship, Freddie Potts also enjoyed a successful weekend, playing a key role as Portsmouth moved away from the relegation zone with a 4-1 win over Frank Lampard's Coventry City. Good old fat Frank Lampard. Despite conceding within 3 minutes, Potts provided setting up 2 of Callum Lang's 4 goals. Callum Lang scored 4 goals in this game. Potts provided setting up 2 of those goals, delivering a long ball from the halfway line for Langs to score, and the second one from a perfect corner that completed Lang's hat-trick. Lang scored a 4th and all that sort of stuff. They won 4-1. Well done to Freddie Potts, and well done to Patrick Kelly, and of course, well done to Callum Marshall. Other players on loan. In the Championship, George Earthy played the final 20 minutes at Bristol City, fell to a 2-0 defeat away to West Bromwich Albion. Look, Earthy's getting game time. Is he getting as much as I'd like him to? Not really, but he's getting game time, and he's getting game time in the Championship, which is really good. In League One, Michael Forbes was handed his second successive start for Bristol Rovers in a 1-1 draw against promotion-chasing Wrexham. Although he made a number of good blocks, his afternoon was unfortunately cut short as he was replaced on 22 minutes with a hamstring injury. In the National League, let's get this right. In the National League South, Mason Terry continued to impress with his remarkable saves for Hornchurch. Despite their 2-1 defeat to Chippenham, their first loss in 7 games, he was named Hornchurch man of the match. The young goalkeeper made a total of 10 saves to keep his side in contention, but they were beaten with a late goal. And elsewhere, Nigel Gerd was rested at the weekend for the first time in La Liga since his arrival to Real Sociedad. Right, I'm going to go into the game and transfers in a minute, but let's catch up with your comments again. Clive, I've lost my glasses, so struggling to read the chat. Oh dear. Do it in large print, mate. Matt, off to work. Stel, once again, Merry Christmas to you. You're a top man. Hope to meet you at Taxpayers Stadium next year. I hope so too. Just come up to me and say hello, like many of the others do. I really do appreciate it. Now, my memory is fucking shit. You know, because you might come up to me and say, hi, Matt, and I'll say, hello, mate, and I'll give you a shout out. And about a month later, you might come up to me again and go, and I'll be like, who? And it's not your fault. It's me, my memory. I'm old. I'm crap. Off to work, mate. I hope you're well, and Merry Christmas to you as well. Sharky, Potts is doing well. Marshall had a great weekend. He did indeed. Who else we got? Brian, good evening, mate. We cannot bring in any players over the age of 30 that have never played in the Premier League. That they can't adapt. Totally agree with you on that, Brian. Totally agree. BD, Alan and Brendan, I take your point. I just feel he will get a chance due to the amount of subs lobby users. He's talking about Guilherme, possibly. Who else have we got here? Colin, Stel, is this how great clubs of ours become? A feeder club to others to prosper? No. No, we cannot see it. We can't and shouldn't see it that way. Unfortunately, the days of a mega rich owner coming in and spending a fortune on players, are gone. Those days are gone. The rules don't allow it now. We could have the richest, but who's got the richest owners in the world? Newcastle United. They can't spend the money, because they're restricted. Finally, FFP and all that sort of stuff, is finally having a bite, but it's having a bite at clubs that are trying to chase all those teams that already had the best of it. The Man Uniteds, the Man Cities, the Liverpools, the Arsenals, etc. They all got away with spending fortunes. But now the limitation on spending is affecting clubs like Newcastle, West Ham, the chasing pack. We want to be up there with them, but we can't. We can't we will never catch up with the Chelseas, the Liverpools, the Arsenals. They've done their spending. They're on a roll now. So don't look at it that way. If we buy a player for 20, 30, 35 million pounds, and then we sell them for double, treble that money, that's good business. And that's the way, that's the way we're going to move forward. Of course, the other business is getting academy players through, and then sort of a bit like Declan, and then when they get good, sell them. But so long as you're spending that money back into the squad, but it's not a feeder for these teams. Players always want to get attracted to playing for the bigger teams. We don't like that, but it's fact. It's fact. Gone are the days of the Di Canios and the Brookings who will stay with West Ham, until their careers, are finished with. That doesn't happen anymore. We've got to adapt. We've got no choice. So I don't see us as a feeder club. I see it as good business. We get a player in, for 20, 30 million pounds, they do well a couple of seasons, and we know they're going to be sniffing around. Look, unless we actually finish up there in the top six regularly, Champions League places and all that sort of stuff. But for West Ham United to get in there and stay in there is difficult. It's really difficult, because that's when you need to invest huge amounts of money, which we don't have, and we can't spend anyway because of FFP, etc. So there's this perpetual cycle that we try and keep up. The best we can do is get into Europe, Europa Conference or the Europa League, as we've done. If we get into those competitions and earn a bit more money, then yes, it pushes us. But it is the way it is. I don't like it. I don't advocate it, but I know that Kudus will go at the end of this season. If he doesn't go in January, I think more the end of the season. And I know the next player we get in, if he's any good as Kudus or better, and he will be gone after a season or two. I don't like it, but there you go. Who else have we got? Hammerette, why is it when you use a back scratcher, it makes your back more itchy? Good question. Howard. Kudus is a professional and on shitloads of money. If he wants to play in Europe, do better and push us on. Not salt. These lads need to get a grip. He's getting better. He's still not where he should be. Graham, I'm off to clean up the horses' coral whilst the weather is good. Merry Christmas, mate. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting and always commenting on the show. Much appreciated. Sharky, Hornchurch only got promoted last season. They are doing okay. They are indeed. Who else have we got here? Hamret, we need Premier League players in January, not pissing around wasting money. Betting players in, going to be costly. Yeah, Premier League players cost money. Leon, good evening, mate. Thank you for joining. I hope you're well. Early doors. Yeah, remember when they were Hornchurch, beating them 3-0? Hadn't done that for 30 years, apparently. Pierino, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Sully must be bricking himself. He's done all his maths on the summer signings, and he's no budget for January spending. Clive, do you still think the bigger clubs feel that they've more right to top players, hence the constant links to our best players? When the bigger clubs continue to play in the bigger competitions, then the players, do I think they have a right? Of course, they think they have a right. Of course, they don't have a right. And some players do turn around and tell them to get lost. But when Champions League comes calling, it's difficult, isn't it? The thing is, though, the Kuduses of this world, etc., will go to a Liverpool or Man City, and they'll become, and then all of a sudden they'll go, oh, I'm on the bench. Hang on a minute. You paid £100 million for me. Why am I on the bench? I shouldn't be on the bench, because all of a sudden it becomes a squad game. Hammerettes, we need to stop wasting money on poor signings with low resale value. We need to stop devaluing the players we have by playing them out of position. That would be a start. Early doors. Blimey, it must be Christmas. Stell's up to date with the chat. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Right, let's go into the next part of the show. I shouldn't have had that drink before I started. I am so parched. But anyway, where's oh, did I not load it? You're gonna have to give me a second. I need to load something very quickly. That's what I didn't load. You see, I'm still an amateur at this after so many years. But anyway, it's why you love me. It's why you watch. It's loading. Give me a second because we're going to go into the next part of the show. Oh, didn't load it in the right place, did I? Oh, it is there. It is there. There you go. Right, before I do anything else, what have I done in the background? What have I got going on in the background? Let's just change that to that. There you go. Before I do anything else, right, do you want to enter a competition and win a fantastic prize, a signed shirt? Let me get the details so I know what I'm talking about. Right, I'm going to have to, there it is. So if you want a chance to win a custom-led, multi-signed West Ham shirt, plus the chance to win a further 17 instant West Ham prizes, go to footballprizes.co.uk for all the latest details on this signed shirt. Tickets for this competition is a mere 39p a ticket. However, there are nearly 3,000 tickets for sale. Terms and conditions apply, but it's a great prize, actually, a signed shirt by the players. So if you want a chance to do that, go to footballprizes.co.uk and follow the instructions. Right, so let's go into transfers. Let me just see what I've missed out here. I missed loads out here. So did I load anything there? No, I didn't. And I didn't load there. Right. I'm going to talk about the game, and I was going to talk about the lineup, but I didn't load the lineup itself. So you're going to have to bear with me. So the lineup, we had Fabianski in goal, as we all know. We had Wan-Bissaka going to right back. Because Emerson was back from his one-game suspension. He went back to left back, and Mavropanos partnered Kilman in the middle at the back. Soler was missing because of suspension, which meant that Paquetá moved into the central of midfield alongside Souček and Alvarez. And Nicholas Füllkrug got his first start of the season. I was actually quite surprised by that, to be quite honest with you. I thought... I didn't think Füllkrug would start, but was I pleased for him to start? You know, I'm not so sure that I was. In all honesty, I think impact sub, yeah, okay, you know, and even Lopetegui admitted that Füllkrug was still not 100% match fit, which was so it was a bit of a surprise, to be quite honest with you, that he even started the game. So Füllkrug starting meant, of course, the four guy was Crescencio Somerville once again. Somerville was dropped to the bench. Kudus was moved over to the left. Bowen out to the right. The first half, you know, I think the first half was a bit nondescript. We had our chances. They had a few chances. We had a few chances. But the game went by pretty quickly. Not because it was exciting, but it just went by pretty quickly. And... going in at 0-0 against a team like Brighton, who we've only beat once in the Premier League in, 14, 15 meetings, I guess was all right. Second half started much the same. And for me, the only time the second half really changed was when we changed the lineup, when we brought on Somerville and took Füllkrug off. And I think then we came alive a little bit up front. And it's ironic that they scored at that time, after we made the changes, but I just thought we looked better moving forward. I thought having Füllkrug, I get it, he's a target player, but he's not as he's not as he doesn't move as much as Antonio would do if Antonio was on the pitch. He's more of a central type of player. So you've got to play to his strengths. If you've got Füllkrug on the pitch, you've got to cross the ball to him. Getting the ball on his head is going to give you goals, but we don't have players. And then I get kind of why we've got Kudus out on the left side, because he can cross the ball in on his left. But we know that Kudus is not a crosser of the ball. He's a finisher more than a provider, isn't he? And maybe some will say, "Oh, well, that's greedy of him," etc., etc. I'm not so sure. For me, I think Lopetegui is confusing certain things, because we look at the way we play, and Lopetegui wants to play possession-based football and all that sort of stuff, and then he puts Füllkrug up front. Well, Füllkrug is not for the possession style of football. Füllkrug is for the direct style of football. You get the ball on his head and that's it. So it was kind of confusing, and that's why I think we looked better when Füllkrug came off. So I'm not blaming Füllkrug for not having an impact on the game. I think that was a mistake by Lopetegui. I was surprised that Lopetegui actually let Füllkrug start. He took him off, I don't know what it was, 5-10 minutes into the second half, something like that. And then we started to gel a bit more up front. And that's how our goal came, didn't it? All right, it was a pass by Souček to Bowen. And a lot of people say, "Oh, Bowen can't play that front." Bowen can. We've seen him do it throughout the last couple of seasons, that he can absolutely, definitely play in that front line. It's different. He's not a target man. He's not an Antonio. He's not a big, but lumpy striker. But look at some of the best strikers in the Premier League over the last few years. That they've not been big, lumpy strikers. They're very different. They're quite agile strikers throughout the Premier League up front. Bowen is much better suited to the passing game. And Bowen can take players on. And that's what he did. He took players on in order to get that goal. And because Kudus was now on the right side of the side he prefers, he was looking for the follow-up. He was looking for, just in case, he was supporting Bowen, looking for the follow-up. And that's how we got our goal. Their goal, I think, lacks lazy defending. Allowing so many players, allowing the ball, first of all, to be crossed into the penalty area, and then allowing players to be free, not marking, not picking up players. We were kind of ball watching for their goal. And ironically, I up until that point, I didn't really think, to be honest with you, that anyone really deserved to score. For once, I thought, well, we're going to go into it's going to end up being a 0-0 against us and Brighton. I was, it felt weird. So when they scored, was I surprised? No. Did they deserve it? They weren't any more on top at that point than we were. Ironically, after we scored our goal, after we scored our equaliser, that's when Brighton then stepped it up and started going at us. And then all of a sudden, we found ourselves to be on the back foot. And that's when it all got completely confusing. Lopetegui did a David Moyes. He brought on 2 subs. And he brought on 2 defensive subs. He brought on Ollie Scholes and he brought on Soufal in order to shore up the defense. And all of a sudden, I was looking at what the formation was, and I couldn't work it out. Wan-Bissaka was alongside Soufal. It looked like we'd gone to, I don't know what we went to. It looked like we'd gone to 6 at the back. Or it looked like 5 at the back. It looked like, but then it wasn't a 5 at the back with a wing back sort of system. It was just like we had a flat back 5 with Alvarez in front of them, and it just looked a bit odd. And then he made even further changes where he started telling people, Ollie Scholes, I talked about Ollie Scholes a minute ago. I felt sorry for him because he came in cold, and all of a sudden they started targeting our left-sided defense, and it was obvious to Lopetegui straight away that Scholes was being caught out. He was cold coming into the game. And all of a sudden, Scholes was found a little bit wanting. I don't blame Scholes for that either. I just think it was just like great for Lopetegui to throw in a youngster. But really, that really was the deep end. Lopetegui must have realised his error, because all of a sudden, Wan-Bissaka moved over to the left. Scholes moved over to somewhere like the right side of midfield. And then it just all looked disheveled. And I think the changes that Lopetegui made, I got why he thought he needed to make the changes, the defensive changes, but we're at home. We lost the momentum at that point, by doing that. It upped the momentum for Brighton, and then we were on the back foot already, but we were completely on the back foot after that. And the fact that he shuffled the pack around, excuse me, the fact that he shuffled the pack around, all of a sudden, we completely lost our shape, we completely lost our formation, and Brighton were kind of unlucky not to get another goal. And that's the bit about the game that disappointed me. He did the right things. He did the wrong thing. For me, I don't think he should have started with Fulkrug, but at least he corrected it. He did the right thing in the second half when he brought Somerville on to correct that error, so to speak. Did he do the right thing by bringing on two defenders at the same? I'm not so sure that was the right thing, because it was conceding. It was conceding the midfield. I think he took Paquetá off, didn't he, for that one? All right, Paquetá was on a yellow card. I think one or two other players that would take. I think Emerson was on a yellow as well. So I got the logic, but then it was all like right, let's throw the players up in the air and let's see where they land, sort of thing. Because Wan-Bissaka going over to the left, I didn't mind. To protect Scarles, but then keep Scarles on the left. Play the wing back system with Wan-Bissaka and have Scarles in front of him. That would have made a lot more sense. But Scarles going over to the other side of the pitch seemed to be like weird. What was going on? And it really looked like the players at that point didn't know what it was that was expected of them. Wan-Bissaka played 3 roles in that game. He played right back, right midfield, left back. And that's not good. That sort of thing is when the fans start to go, you don't know what you're doing, mate. And I get that. I get why the fans would say that when things all of a sudden seem to be completely up in the air. It seems a little bit weird. It seemed a little bit sort of odd what he was doing. And I'm kind of glad in a way that we got a point against a team like Brighton. But at the same time, I'm disappointed because we were at home. But Brighton are our bogey team. They're one of the teams that are our bogey team. And, we can never seem to beat them. We beat them last season away from home. And that was the first win in something like 14, 15 visits, 14, 15 meetings in the Premier League. A point against Brighton, it was a bit like a point against Bournemouth. You take it, a bit more reluctantly than the one against Bournemouth, but you take it nonetheless, because at least it wasn't a defeat. So in that respect, I think it was he did the wrong thing with Fulkrug. He corrected it with Somerville. Fair play to him for bringing on his Scarles on, and then shuffling the pack around the way he did was just chaotic. 1-1 at home to Brighton. I don't know. I'll take it. Right. Before I go into transfers, let's see your comments again. And then we'll go down to transfer business. Delton. Rowley, comedy gold. All right. Yes, I messed up. Delton, still, last year you said 6 every year would be acceptable. If we're ambitious, we should keep Kudus, because if we sell him, Bone will be next. Ironically, Bone ain't going. I really did think that Bone would go, but then signing that long-term deal put paid to that. I get what you're saying, though. But Delton, as I said, mate, sorry, people, still getting over this cold. As I said, if we sell Kudus, I don't want to sell him, but if we sell him and we buy 2 or 3 good players that become really good players, I'll accept it. Clive, Emerson stated that the Conference League win was his biggest win in the Champions League because it gave him a record and he achieved with West Ham. Yeah, he's won the Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League, and the only one I think has ever done that. Kimbo, thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Kuva, good evening, mate. You're a good listen still. Big up. Thank you very much. Came and had a look. Hope you're all well. Thank you for coming and having a look, Kuva. And I hope you've become a subscriber. I'll get Daniela on you if you haven't done that. It's all going to a little bit. A little bit. Jack, is it true that Fulkrug's Achilles gets inflamed after each game? I saw a quote from him that it takes 6 months to fully heal. It does take quite a long while to fully heal. And that's probably why he didn't get any game time against Wolves. And you may not see him start or even play in the next game against Southampton. And then he might be available for the game against Liverpool. So yes, that's probably correct. Who else have we got here? Let's scroll down. Hamret, last night with the assist from Salah, he is now the only player in the Premier League history that's got 10 goals, 10 assists before Christmas. I want one of those. We can only but dream. Hamret, Delton. We need to top 6 to 4 ambitious. We need to top 6 to 4 ambitious, and that cannot happen with negative ownership and manager. What am I going to say now that's going to piss you all off? We had top 6. We had ambition. We had European glory. 3 years of Europe. Finished in the top 10 3 years in a row. Of those 3 years, 2 of them were in the top 6. Oh, no. We finished 6th, 7th, and 9th. And then we were unhappy because we wanted better football. I'm not suggesting for a minute that we should have kept David Moyes, but we kind of had that, didn't we? Howard. Keeps me in the zone, Togs. I've been a full-time midnight toker for over 30 years. Keeps me creative. I know what you mean. Toho. White's lemonade for me, Howard. What a difference. Neil, I fell asleep in the first half. I thought you were going to say I fell asleep here on the show. Who else we got here? Let's scroll down. Forgive me. I'm trying to pick some comments. Was really hoping Fulkrug to start, but was so underwhelmed. I was too, to be honest with you. Delton, I'm an Irons and think we should be higher if we had positive minds of you. I'm a West Ham fan of 50 odd years, and I've seen us finish in the top 5 once, maybe twice. I've seen us finish in the relegation several times. Maybe I'm a bit too much of a realist, Delton. I don't know. I would love for us, of course. I think every West Ham fan wants us to finish in the top 6 every season. Of course we do. Realistically, evening to you, mate. Merry Christmas to you, Lee, as well. Thank you for joining, mate. Early doors. Is that like the elusive shadow Sharky? Don't know what you're talking about, but you carry on chatting. Colin, I would play an attacking side in Southampton of Fabianski, Soufal, Todibo, Kilman, Wan-Bissaka, Somerville, Souček, Soler, Bowen, Kudus, Guilherme up front. Interesting. I wouldn't play Soufal, with the greatest of respect to him, as I said earlier in the show. I just think Soufal's time as a Premier League footballer is finished. You know, I think when he's up against younger, faster players, he gets very badly found out. You know, so I'd for the time being, I'd still want Emerson in that team. Wan-Bissaka, Somerville, Souček, Soler, Bowen, yeah, Kudus, yeah. Guilherme up front. Interesting. Let's scroll down. Kuva. Bowen can fit into any forward role. Fantastic player. We wish we had him. Oh, you're a Spurs fan. You're more than welcome, Kuva, to be honest with you. I agree with you. A lot of people say he can't play that front line. And yet last season, when he played there on the right, let's not forget, Kudus and Bowen were playing almost every game last season, and Bowen scored 20-odd goals in all competitions. So it does work. It can work. I think it does. Delton. Haaland is not a possession player. He's a goal scorer. Absolutely. See, we've got like our big players like Antonio are possession based, aren't they? Leon, are you asking me? Oh, sure, you're asking someone else. Not in the towels. Good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Stowe will watch in full tomorrow. Happy Christmas to you and yours, fella. Happy Christmas to you as well, mate. Really appreciate you joining and hope you have a good one. Who else have we got in the chat? Alan, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Have to go. Mrs. wants to go shopping, so all on here. Have a fantastic Christmas and a great new year. It's been great listening to your roundups and invite this season. So thank you. My absolute pleasure. And thank you, Alan, as well. Have a good Christmas to you and your family too. Usual. The team thus far has absolutely no identity. It's a mishmash of nothingness. Who else have we got? Let's scroll down. Kuva. Captaincy can make or break players. Sure, Daniela. I think Bowen, it's gotten better for him, hasn't it? I think. Delton, it's when it's hard times, when we're going through rough patches, that we want to see Bowen stand up. Delton, Lopo is not sure how to balance the team according to the players he has at his disposal. Keep switching Wan-Bissaka is very disturbing. He should be allowed to form partnerships. I don't necessarily mind Wan-Bissaka playing on the left, to be quite honest with you. As I said in a show previously, excuse me, people. As I said in the show previously, ironically, he looks as good as on the left as he does on the right. I think it's the other players that I think it's a bit frustrating. You know, in defence, Wan-Bissaka could do a job on both sides of the flanks. That's fine. Kudus, we know he should be out on the right. We know he's better off on the right. But, you know, even Kudus said, I've got to adapt. I don't know. How much longer will he have to adapt for? I don't know. Nil. I always feel Somerville will struggle when he doesn't start. Yeah, getting into the when he starts a game, I think he's at it, isn't he? You know, he's at the pace of the game. Sharky, we have only beaten Brighton once in the Premier League. Delton, I'm also glad we got a point. Hopefully we can push on. So fingers crossed. Hammerette, of course we take a point, but it's the unconvincing manner of what we do that F's me off. Yeah, I agree. You know, it is frustrating. Early doors. Still, time to go. Thanks for your content for the year. Been a pleasure being part of the community. Have a great Christmas. Hope you hit the 8K. Thank you very much, mate. I really do appreciate that. Thank you, and have a good Christmas as well. Paul, would you sell Bowen or Kudus? Kudus. If it had to be one of those two, it'd be Kudus. I think Bowen is all in at West Ham United. Anthos, how I to you, mate? I hope you're well. Who else have we got? Early doors. Take care. Colin, to you, take care to you, mate, as well. Have a good Christmas, mate. Anthos, we'll let go of a dinosaur in Moistel, plus employed a La Liga merchant with no oomph or any sort of pace. We need with that. If there's anything we need, well, we need a centre back, we need a central midfielder, and we need a striker. Apart from that, we're doing all right. Pierino, relegation 78 was the worst one, but we won the cup in 80, which was a dream. There you go. That is West Ham, isn't it? You know, of course, we all want to be up there, you know, top six all the time. And the irony is we had it and we let it go. You know what? Moyes, I don't want to go back to that. Moyes could have easily saved the job. All he had to do was stop being so stubborn. If last season, if he changed tact midway through in the second half of the season and started playing with a bit more flair, he would have still been manager now, but he was stubborn. Foxes, I've lived through the relegation so many times, it doesn't bother me so much. You know, same. Delton, with captaincy of 66, though, we must have continuity. It'd be nice to have a bit of continuity. I don't disagree with that. Jordan, Wan-Bissaka is a million times better than Soufal. I love the guy. With the greatest of respect, he is better. Our best summer signing was Wan-Bissaka. So far, I would agree with that. Anthos. First, we've employed a manager that hasn't sussed out a starting 11 yet. We talked about Amorim earlier on, mate. How's he doing? Shaky. Quick stop off. Happy Christmas. Thanks, Stel, for all the... My pleasure, and happy Christmas to you as well, mate. Kimbo. We've never been the best team in the country, but always had the best supporters. But unless we return to our... using our... You're going to have to write that again, aren't you? Delton, no offense, Metzel. I've seen us finish third, and it wasn't for. And if it wasn't for Liverpool fans, would have been in Europe with a very good team. And Billy, I never take offense, Delton, because everyone's got their opinions, and I'm with you. To be honest with you, mate, I really would love us to be regular top six finishers. Regularly, the 3 years that we've recently had in Europe were just superb. You know, went to almost every away game. You know, visited some great places. You know, I never thought I would. You know, and it was absolutely superb. And that night in Prague, can't never take that away. Jack, maybe Lopetegui is shuffling the pack, knowing it will confuse the players. Fuck me, it confuses us all, mate. Because even more confusing for the Oppo. Mate, it didn't confuse the Oppo, but it certainly confused us. Jordan, you only need 170 subs. Hopefully, thank you. I would love to. You know me, I'm humble in that way. You know, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, then, you know. But if I've got 218 people watching, you know what you can do? I guarantee, well, it's gone down to 211 now as soon as I said that. I guarantee not every one of you is a subscriber. So those who are not subscribers, hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing to do it. But also hit the like button as well. If I can get to 8,000 before beginning of 2025, that would be fantastic. Hamret, Bone is too important to the team. Kudus, albeit very talented, not a proper hammer, never will be. Very true. Anthos. Even though the Spuds conceded 6, there's not a lot of teams that can score 3 against the Scousers and still lose. Watch us. Watch us at the weekend. Robin, Loppy said a couple of players picked up knocks against Brighton. I wonder if Kilman was one of them with that whack. That was a sending off, wasn't it? Should have been. Daniel, love a win, but I take a point at Southampton because it means no losses in 4 games. Delton, Kilman must be more positive from the back because it encourages slow play, weave quickly players, and Kilman must be more positive from the back because it encourages slow play, weave quick players, and must exploit it. We have quick players and we must exploit them. Yep. Jordan, still, do you think beating Southampton, make it 4 games unbeaten, will give fans hope? I think we should always have hope. Yes. But yes, I do, mate. I really do. Daniela, I think winning the trophy, Moyes froze as a manager, did not know how to follow it up. Yeah, that's a good point. Or maybe he got a bit too cocky. Delta, have a jolly festive, Stel, and all this. Thank you, mate. You too as well. Jordan, I guess we would have to beat Southampton, lose to Liverpool, and then beat City. Frog, if we could win 2 Premier League games on the bounce, it would be an improvement. We're not asking for much. Well, we've got 3 coming up, haven't we? Southampton, Liverpool, and Man City. Should we do transfer roundup? Excuse me, people. Clearly, I'm still not better. So, as I said last week, the transfer noise has started. One thing I was surprised at, done that one, haven't I? One thing I was surprised at the weekend is we saw Jean-Claire Todibo play, and I was shocked. He came on in the second half. Now, you know what I've been saying about Todibo over the last few weeks. And then, of course, he came on in the second half. He did reasonably well. He did all right, I guess. You know, sometimes I still think he's finding his feet as well. But then there were messages exchanged with him and a fan on, I don't know what it was, Instagram or whatever. And now he's suggesting he's going nowhere. I'm surprised, to be honest with you. If Todibo can knuckle down, get on with it, become the player that we know he can be, and continue improving, then I'm all for him staying. But I keep being told many different things about him. I keep being told he's a disruptive force. So maybe things have now worked out with Todibo. So maybe he's not going anywhere. Let's see what happens. And then, of course, as we sort of started the show about, do we cash in on Mohammed Kudus in this January window in order to buy other players that we need? People have already said, we clearly need a striker. Some would like to see another centre-back, and some would like to see another central midfielder. I think we do need those 3 players. Do I think we get all 3 in this transfer window? Probably not. If we had to really go for one, what would we get? That I don't know either. I think it's interesting that we're making the Soler deal permanent. And I think the reason why we're doing that is, as I said earlier in the show, we're making the Soler deal permanent so we could possibly open up an opportunity to bring in another loan player. And that is probably going to be either an attacking midfielder, but more not an attacking midfielder, either another midfielder, but more my thinking is we're going to go for a striker in this window. Now, we can't afford to buy a striker in this window. And then people asked earlier on in the show, well, how come we've got the money to buy Soler, make that permanent? Well, the Soler transfer is my understanding going to be something like 20 million euros, 16, 17 million pounds, give or take. Whereas if we went out to buy a striker in the January window, it's going to cost us an absolute fortune, more than double that. So what we're probably doing is we're probably trying to play a clever game. We're probably trying to free up our loan rota by buying Soler, making him a permanent. I don't mind. I think Soler's good. I think he's picked up. I think he's improved. I think he looks all right. He looks quite good when he plays. I quite like him. I think he's quite creative. And then by doing that, it means that we open the door for a loan. And I think we would go looking for a loan striker. Now, do I think it's going to be Ferguson? No, I don't. Well, on loan, maybe? Yeah. But would I pay £60 million for Ferguson? Absolutely not. Because let's think about it. And it was a viewer that said it to, that put it in a comment in one of my shows after one of my shows the other day when I did a transfer show. If we didn't manage to buy 40 odd million pounds John Duran, do we honestly think we're going to go and buy 60 million pounds Ferguson, who's hardly getting any game time at Brighton? No, I don't think we are. Getting him on loan? Yeah, possibly. That would possibly make sense. Maybe with an option to buy rather than an obligation. I really would not want to be obligated to buy that young lad on a £60 million deal at this moment in time. So let's see what happens with that. But of course, there is talk about that we want to go for James MacAtee of Man City, who's getting a little bit of game time at Man City, but not as much as he believes he should be getting. And I guess he looks at some of the other players that were at City who've gone off to other teams who are getting regular game time. And he's probably thinking to himself, maybe that's my future. Maybe for me, I need to leave Manchester City in order to get game time elsewhere. Now, he's rated, I don't know, around 25 million, something like that. And the story came out today, of course, is that we've got to sell Kudus to Man City in order for them to loan MacAtee to us. Oh, aren't we so grateful? You know, that's the kind of shit story that goes out there and everyone believes it. So hang on, let me get this right. We've got to sell Man City, Mohammed Kudus, permanent. And then in return, they'll be happy to loan, not sell, loan MacAtee to us. Crap. You know, we're not going to do that. That serves us no purpose whatsoever because we're going to want to use, like I've said, if we sell Kudus, we'll buy a striker and we'll buy another player, probably another midfielder. If we don't sell Kudus, then we're looking at going out and getting ourselves a loan striker. Now, the news on the likes of Igor Christmas, I'm going to call him, Igor Jesus, has gone a bit quiet. But given that it's Christmas, you always need a Jesus around, don't you? So the league in Brazil has ended. I think they go into some knockout cup competition now, but primarily the league itself has ended. Botafogo, that Jesus plays for, have won the league, and there's talk about him going for round about 30 odd million pounds. 30 odd million euros. Now, we can't afford 30 odd million euros in this window. Might we, and I'm not sure that we'd be able to, might we go to Botafogo and say, loan him to us and we will buy him permanently off you in the summer for 30 million euros. Now, that is a possibility as well. The reason why I keep mentioning Igor Jesus as one of the potential strikers is because the Botafogo owner has stated clearly that 4 teams, one of which are West Ham United, have made inquiries about potentially buying him. And the owner, Trentor of Botafogo, has said he's worth 30 million euros. So that's why I keep mentioning him. So those are the only 2 strikers at the moment that have been linked to West Ham United. I know we've been linked to Lath of Middlesbrough, but apparently that's not happening either. But Jesus from Botafogo and potentially Ferguson, both of them on a loan deal. Now, if we get them on a loan deal, we don't have to sell. We don't have to sell Kudus to fund the purchase of any players. Do I think we will go for MacAtee in midfield? I don't think, as great a player as I'm sure he is, I don't think he is that kind of player that we need in the central of midfield. We need a box-to-box player. We need a player that's going to really toughen up that midfield. That's the kind of player we need in this transfer window. And I think that's what we'll be looking for. And again, potentially, how do we fund a player like that? That's where I think Rodriguez is going to go. I think Rodriguez will go. I think one or two other players, fringe players, might be sold as well. Maxwell Cornet has got interest from a couple of championship sides. So if we get 5, 6, 7 million for him, 5, 6, 7 million for Rodriguez, 1 or 2 million for one or two other players, fringe players, that might be enough money to go out and get ourselves a central midfielder. Probably won't be a big name, but it'll be someone that maybe will fit the bill that we need in central midfield. So it's looking like we're going to be busy in the January window. Do we go out and buy? As I've said, if we go out and buy, and if we buy several players, then yeah, I can see Kudus going. Do I genuinely think anyone will offer £100 million for Kudus in January? No, I don't. Absolutely not. I don't think that will happen. I think a lot of teams will go, well, why spend, that sort of money when we can wait until the summer and then make a bid for him for 85 million, which is his release clause. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's a nice story for social media columns to put out there, but I genuinely don't think it's going to happen, which means that we're going to shuffle around in January. We're going to probably look for a loan signing. And that loan signing, if I'm going to be a betting man and pick between a central midfielder and a striker, I'm going to go for a striker still. I still think that will be the bigger priority over we get us getting any other position in this window. I think we'll look for a striker. So watch out. Let's see what happens. Right, back to your comments. Let's scroll down. Hamrick, Rowley beating the worst clubs by miles in the league would not make me feel hopeful. I'd be more convinced by a tight loss against the bin dippers. No, you got that wrong, Hamrick. No, you really do. If we beat whatever team's in front of us, if we beat them, we beat them. Yes, I want a convincing win, but, a win is a win. Anthos, Todibo will be a great player as long as he doesn't beat Loppy up. Toha, I did like that strike partnership. Paul F, like McAvenny and Cotti more, though. Like McAvenny and Cotti, yeah. Oh, those were the days, weren't they? Leon, would be a really happy hammer if we got 7 points in the next 3 games. There you go. Jordan, 6 points in the next 3 is possible. Depends if City carry on their awful form. You just know we're going to meet City and they will resurrect their season against us, don't you? Toha, pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side. Anthos, we just haven't seen Kudus in the middle yet. You'd think if we seriously had a player on our hands, we'd try and accommodate. Do you know what here's a thought. We go out and get ourselves the striker that we need that will fit this team. And then maybe, just maybe, all of a sudden you see Bowen on the right, Somerville on the left, new striker, and Kudus just behind. Wouldn't that be nice? Frog, 11 players running their conkers off for 90 minutes and looking like they give a damn, regardless of whatever they cost, would be nice. Colin, mate. Take care. Thank you, mate. Have a good. You too, as well, mate. Have a really good Christmas, and thank you for supporting the channel, mate. Much appreciated. At least we're playing City before they spend some cash. Yeah, that's good. Rowley would make a big difference to feel and see everyone working their asses off. Actually, seeing some teamwork as opposed to individual flair. We did that in the game against Bournemouth. We kind of did that a little bit against Brighton. But we allowed them. We almost handed them that game. I do think we almost did. True Culture. Good evening, mate. I hope you're well. They players that you think was a good idea that came in the last window. Have they lived up to your expectations? No, not all of them have. I think Kilman has been a bit hot and cold. I think Todibo is being a bit hot and cold. But I want to see us with more clean sheets. And I want to see the defense, contributing to that. Guilherme, we've not seen enough of. Soler is picking up. Rodriguez has been a disappointment. Fulkrug has been a disappointment, but then he has been injured for quite a lot of the games. I feel sorry for Somerville. I think he should be given more regular starts rather than that bitty, start, stop. So not all of them have, to be quite honest with you. Who else have we got? Anthos Sullivan. Rather have a heart attack than spend on a proper striker. But I know a lot of people are still upset about the John Duran thing. But like I've said before, you've got to have a club willing to sell in order to buy. And I don't think for a minute, Aston Villa were looking for a replacement. They couldn't find a replacement. They decided to keep Duran. I bet they're pinching themselves that they've now kept him. I don't think they were ready to sell him unless they got another striker in. They didn't get the striker they wanted, so they kept him. So we could have offered 50 and they wouldn't have sold. Usual. The biggest mystery of the season is buying the Brazilian kid and making him disappear. It is an odd one. It really, really is. I mean, like people have said, give him a chance. He's got pace. Give him a chance. See what he can do. Put him up front and see what he can do. You never know. Nil. Ferguson is not worth 60. Agreed. That price comes from when he burst onto the scene. Is the potential to be a really good, but not much else at present. Who else we got? Leon. 35 to 40 million for Ferguson at most. Hasn't hit his heights yet. I agree. Probably even that's too much for him as well. Jordan, I'm shocked. Ferguson is still available. Has his form dipped or something? Well, he's certainly not getting any game time at Brighton, so who knows? Kuva, loan with an option to buy him, Ferguson could be a good move if it's the right money. Loan with an option to buy. If it's an option of about 35, 40 million and he proves himself, I totally agree with you. It would be a great option. Jack, to be honest, when you look at YouTube for Guilherme, it doesn't look that good, even though all the good bits are exaggerated while all the bad bits are missing. It is an odd one. It is an odd one. We were told he came in for the future, but then you've got to see what he's like in order to make sure that your future's safe. Nil, he is Kuva been poor injury-wise. Given how poor Ireland are, I would love Ferguson to come good. Jordan, Guilherme has got to get game time against Southampton, assuming we're a couple of goals up with 30 minutes to go. That would be nice. Totally agree. Hammer at 5 to 6 million for the lesser spotted Cornet. Who else have we got here? Frog. Help. The shelves aren't empty. I hope the shelves are not empty tomorrow. It's crunchy nut cornflakes sandwich time. Who else we got? Paul. We need a destroyer with legs and brains in that central midfield, which is why I don't think the MacAtee story is a realistic one, to be honest with you. We need a completely different type of player in central midfield. Jack. Ings took us for a ride and got a beautiful bonce in return. He sure did. Neil, Kuva, Jack has some decent top flight players. We just don't have that now. Love Jack Charlton, though father-in-law went to school with him. 30 million bid for Ferguson. I'd rather do a loan with an option, to be honest with you, Mark. Loan with an option. If he can do it, then, have that option to buy him. Why are we so obsessed with slow strikers? You tell me, mate. I think he will fit right. He probably would, but I certainly wouldn't want to buy him and then realize that he's not right. I think getting him as an option, a loan option, getting him on loan with an option to buy him, I think would be great. Who else have we got? Hammer, it's crap, ain't it? We're conceding too many goals, have a midfield that's weaker than Nat's piss, and we're hardly scoring. And this is a couple of months after 10 signings. It's still building. We've still got to rebuild that second half of that squad. If one thing Moyes you got to blame Moyes for is the state of the squad he left us with. It was on its knees, to be honest with you. It weren't good. And look who is David Moyes, dysfunctional bollock. Why aren't we giving the young Brazilian a chance? Merry Christmas to everyone. What we've been talking about, mate. It would be good to perhaps see him. Clive, still you forgot what Wan-Bissaka. I did forget Wan-Bissaka. I think he's possibly been our best signing. I do. I think by a mile. I think he's been great. He's turned up for every game. Not only being asked to play on the right, also on the left, and as I said earlier in the show, demonstrates as he's as good as on the right as he is. He's as good as on the left as he is in his natural right side of position. Frog. Looking at keepers need to be mixed, in my opinion. I didn't understand that, so you're going to have to rewrite that. Toha. I do want an update. I do want to update the car. I'm using Tim's model. If I cannot get 2 or 3 year old economic motor, I will go for a 10 to 12 year old high mileage banger at the end of its useful economic knife. Good analogy. It's exactly what Tim Steiden did. Hammer it. How poor is our midfield? I thought we may have seen a bit of Armbrew, Irving, at least. We don't even know what he's like. He might be the answer to our midfield. Who else we got? Delton. We also need a steady midfielder to help shield the defence. Souček not enough on the ground. Now, this is it. I think with a box-to-box midfielder, that means that Alvarez can do his job without having to try and cover too much space. Alvarez can sit tight, cover that the defense, box-to-box midfielder, and then someone like Soler or Paqueta with him. Leon, definitely still, we've been burnt too many times with non-effective strikers. Would be wise with a loan to buy. Frog, Stel, how long do you think Fab and Areola have left in them? I genuinely think Fabianski is having a new lease of life, but I still don't think he's our long-term future. I'd be very worried if we give him yet another extension on his deal. I think this should really be Fabianski's last season. I feel sorry for Areola because Fabianski has pulled off some great saves since he's come back into the team, but Areola pulls off some great saves that we all seem to forget about. And Areola got dropped because of the drubbing that we got against, who was it? Spurs. And because he made mistakes there. I've seen Fabianski make mistakes. You could argue the goal against Brighton at the weekend was a mistake by Fabianski. He came out for it. He was never going to get that ball. And then that left it exposed for their midfielder or whoever he was to strike that into an empty net virtually. That was a mistake by the goalie. With the greatest of respect to him, that was. And he's made one or two other mistakes. And yet he's still starting. For me, I still think Areola should come back into the lineup. I really do. And I know a lot of people don't think that's right. But I think Areola overall, Areola made a mistake, mistakes, and he's been punished for it. Fabianski has made mistakes, but then we're all talking about the great saves he pulls off. Areola pulls off great saves as well. And I think perhaps I was debating this with my mates, with Paul and Wiggy and stuff, and they reckon that they're possibly on a par. One's not better than the other. I think Areola should be brought back into the team. But Fabianski is doing well at this moment in time. How long do I think Fabianski's got left? I think end of the season he should be gone. Areola, I want to see him come back and really stake a claim for that spot. Really come back and go, I've learnt my lesson. I'm going to demonstrate to you now I'm a better keeper than you've seen. And if he did that, if he was allowed to do that, and I would say he's got a couple of years left at West Ham. If he doesn't do that, then we're in trouble in the summer. And I know we're interested in that Freiburg keeper, but I'm not so sure he's the answer, to be honest with you. If Southampton go down, we should maybe make a cheeky bid for Ramsdale. Jordan, if Wan-Bissaka keeps playing like he is, Man United want to buy him back for 80 million. And people kept saying Mazraoui is an upgrade. No, he's not. Man United, I can't believe they let him go for 15 mil. Neil Dalton, keep in mind that how Chelsea Jude had 6 months golden period when on loan at Southampton. Where is he today? I don't know which one you mean, but Anthos. Areola had a couple of crap games and now has disappeared. I feel sorry for him. He was injured for a while, but I think he should be back in. GP, so grateful. Thank you so much. Best fan channel and all sprouts for Christmas. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Bill, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. 210 people still watching. If you're new to the channel, despite my illness, please become a subscriber. Hit that subscribe button. And if you're new to the channel and you've yet to subscribe or hit the like button. If you're not going to hit the subscribe button, then at least hit the like button for me, please. Bill, good shows. Thank you, mate. Have a good Christmas to everyone. Let's see how Southampton turns out. Night. Good night to you, mate. And thank you for supporting the show as well. Have a good Christmas too. Neil, Areola was my hammer of the season 23-24. You don't become a crap keeper overnight. You absolutely don't. And look how much under the cosh he was last season. We conceded so many goals and everyone admitted that it wasn't down to Areola. It's because our defense was crap. You don't become crap overnight. I'm disappointed with Lopetegui. He's an ex-goalkeeper, and I said, don't drop him. When there was talk about him being dropped, I said, don't drop him. It's going to get to him. It's going to mind fuck and all that sort of stuff. This is the time when you need to back your keeper. Whereas with other players outfield, you drop and go, you watch the game, you get back into it and, you're fine. With Areola, with a goalkeeper, the minute you drop them and then they stay dropped, their confidence is probably going to be blown. And I feel sorry for him. I think he should be back in the team. Jack, I think our defense is less nervous when Fabianski is in between. Do you? Look, like I said, look what he did. Look what he did. Right, he came out for the ball. He had no chance getting it. I don't know. Do they? I think Fabianski's had, I don't know. I don't know how many clean sheets in total. I think Fabianski's only had one more clean sheet than Areola. Areola had 2 clean sheets before he got dropped. I think Fabianski's had 3. Toha, good night to it. Yeah, good night to Bill. Aaron Moretz, don't forget to like the channel. Thank you very much. Please do hit the like button. Brian, I agree with you still. Areola would be my first choice. Both are similar in talent, but I give Areola the edge with distribution and age, of course. Hammerette, Ramsdale has had the biggest decline ever. What happened to him? I'd put a cheeky bid. If Southampton get relegated, I'd put a cheeky bid in for him. Loppe is an ex-keeper, Jack, so I think he trusts his judgment about Fabianski and Areola. Yeah. Rolly, have a great Christmas, mate. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting as well. You have a good Christmas too. Kelleher would be a good shout. There's a big queue ready for Kelleher when he goes. There's going to be a lot of teams in for him. What about Chucker, mate? They come and they go, don't they? The one from Chelsea. I talked about him last week, and this week there's no talk about him at all. But he's an interesting player. Now, he could be the box-to-box kind of player that could do really well for us. Andy, have a good Christmas as well to you, mate. In spite of the lucky 2-2, we'll get on Boxing Day. Great channel. Thank you very much. Kick that flip. Thank you, mate. Really much appreciated. Jordan, Fotheringham, a waste of wages. What's the point? He's the third choice. I get that. At least he's not on the bench. Let's not forget what Moyes used to do. He used to put 2 goalies on the bench. To what? To do piss us off? Whose signing was Aaron Wan-Bissaka's? I don't know. You tell me. Sullivan's? Stidens? Lopetegui's? I don't know. I actually genuinely don't know. Who else we got? 7-inch destroyer. Hope you can keep Kudus. Love from an eye. Thank you so much, mate. Really, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I think we will keep him until the end of the season, to be honest with you, mates. Thank you for watching and thank you for contributing. Really appreciate it. KJ, bit late coming in, but talking new players to get Delap at Ipswich would be good. Plenty of energy and scores. Absolutely. But there's no way that Ipswich are going to let him go. Maybe at the end of the season, but certainly not at this moment in time. Right, people, you can hear my voices going. You can hear it's all like, I don't know what's going on. I really don't, because it's been a month now where I think I'm better, and then it gets worse, and I just don't understand it, And today I was all right. Went out and did a bit of Christmas shopping. I did have a rum. Shouldn't have done. And now I don't feel good. I'm getting all clogged up. Anyway, you shouldn't feel sorry for me. Jordan, Sullivan signed Wan-Bissaka. We need to praise Lord Sullivan, our leader. We all love him and he knows it. He's a powerful leader and one day will bring us honour and trophies. He brought us a trophy last year. No, mate, I've checked. It's definitely not COVID. I've checked and double-checked. Right, I'm going to go. Before I start, my snot starts streaming out. You wouldn't want to see that. Right. They may, all right, okay, I'll do that one because he contributed. Anthony was not great in that team, or other stars like Gravenberg and Kudus had some nice games, but never a £100 million player. Max 30 mil, lacks confidence. He ain't as shit as he's made out to be now. Who, Anthony, you're talking about? Yeah, but he looks awful, doesn't he? Honey tea, yes. Green tea with honey. I'm doing it. Thank you very much, Hammerette, and thank you to the moderators. I never thank them enough, and I should do much more. For the moderators, you keep the show flowing. I do appreciate that, and thank you for all your hard work as well. And to you, Clive, as well. Have a good Christmas. There might be a show tomorrow. Let me see how I feel. I might do a show tomorrow, but if I don't, then I'll wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. You know, I'll be back before the new year. Obviously, we've got games coming up. I'm driving to Southampton on Saturday. I'll miss the game, won't I? I'm driving to Southampton on Thursday and all that. So I'll be bringing you a pre-match. I'll be bringing you a preview and a post-match review and all that sort of stuff. So I'll do all that as well. So I really appreciate it. But honey tea with lemon, yes, absolutely. Thank you, Darren, as well. Great show. Happy Christmas to you as well. Christopher, I hope you're well too, mate. And to you as well. 7-inch Destroyer. He does look terrible. Had amazing games in the Champions League against good teams. Can't recognise this Anthony at all anymore. Maybe he should come to West Ham and resurrect his career. Thank you all, people. I really do appreciate everything. I really appreciate your support. Have a great Christmas, and I will see you all very, very soon.